know, they have all of these theories, and theories don't always work. As you know, I'm educated too. I've read a lot of books, and so I know how theories go. But when you're working with this, and this is why I wanted to get in the ground, on the ground floor, because they've got this grandiose plan, but they really have no idea of how to really implement their plan. So this should be done in the beginning so that that plan is developed. It's like they've rushed into this thing with their energy, with their research and everything, and they have this grandiose idea, but they've not really looked at it, like you said, to bring in community members that deal with this on a daily basis and that have their boots on the ground in that community.
I can't agree with you more. It's one of the, you're absolutely right, very energetic young women came to me with their initial proposal. It was really well done, well documented, well researched. Unfortunately, it didn't involve any members of the Dominican population, the Hispanic population, Black population, and that's the thing that we said, in order to resolve any issues up there, you need to get these people involved. I will take care of that tomorrow.
And Mr. Cornish, if I can ask, I'm sorry, I'd just like to say one thing. As a former principal at GAR, and I haven't been there for 4 years, but what's going on is ongoing with the programs we have there, because when I was there,
What's going on with what? The FACES program, you mean?
not the FACES program.
What's going on?
We've had mentoring programs at GAR before, and it was in the 7th and 8th grade. And I'm going back to maybe 2000, 2001, not, any time within the last few years. We've also had cultural diversity programs there with Linda Trumpeter from Ms. Recordia. She's come in and run programs. We had a spirit program, which was run by, I think it was the Civil Liberty Union out of Harrisburg. They came in. So I don't want you to think that, this is an ongoing process that we've been doing and we continue to do. It's unfortunate that the kids at GAR are being painted with one brush now, because as you well know, the attack with the machete was not a student at GAR. In fact, the student at GAR was defending another student who was only at GAR a week. So unfortunately, not all of that is brought out. Not to say that we don't have issues up there and we should be doing things about them. Certainly we've had people come in to speak to our students when I was there, and I know it's ongoing. Do we have to continue to do that? Absolutely, but not only at GAR, at Myers, at Coughlin, at all our schools.
What I'm saying, and I know they have these programs. You know as well, we've known each other all our lives, and I'm well aware of what's going on at GAR. And I know they've had these programs. The point I keep making, you can't bring someone from out of this area. You can't have someone come in here, spend the night, sleep in the Gus Genetti's, give a presentation at GAR High School, and walk away and say, well, we've done something. We've had a good time. Ongoing, day in, day out, with community contacts. People that can go right to that door of that child, bring in those Hispanics, bring in our minorities, that can go directly to those people, can sit down with that child, with that family. You can have all the programs you want, but you're bringing outsiders. When are we going to train our teachers, our personnel,
Again, that's an ongoing
of
process.
cultural awareness? We've been talking about diversity training and cultural awareness for this school district for years. Sporadically they do it.
Our teachers
They need to be
have been trained.
And we need to have Spanish-speaking people in our schools.
We're not denying that. But we have had people from the community come in and speak to our kids. All right?
Sure, but it's a one-time thing, It has to be ongoing, day in, day out.
I agree with you. It has to be
Day in,
ongoing.
day out.
And I can only speak from the last 4 years.
And I'm well aware of the programs they have there. If there's something going on in our schools dealing with diversity or cultural awareness, believe me, I know about it.
Okay, Mr. Porter, you have something to say, please?
You were born and raised in the area.
Me?
Yeah, right? Or raised?
I'm 61 years old, born and raised, graduate of Coughlin High School,
Very
1968. Yes, I'm born and raised right here.
And so you really kind of are aware of our culture here versus anywhere else. You grew up here with us. And you're a product of your system.
Wait.
You're part of my community. Okay? I went to Hope, but you're still part of my community. You're my neighbor. Okay? my thought is, we influence each other easily as adults and so forth, is that maybe if the students, like you have this mad and the sad group, and as kids, we can talk from up here, bring somebody from the outside, teachers can talk, unless the kids internalize it, or maybe start their own group. That might be a good idea.
And Mr. Cornish, that dovetails with what I was going to tell you. There was a complaint filed with the Office of Civil Rights, not involving JAR, with the district. And rather than fight this complaint, Dr. Namey and I, with the board's approval, have been having discussions with the Office of Civil Rights in an effort to come up with a resolution agreement where the district can benefit because this complaint was made. We believe the complaint was completely defensible, that we did exactly the right thing when this incident occurred, and that we did nothing wrong. But we want to work with the Office of Civil Rights, and as part of that, and one of the recommendations I'm making in my report tonight to the board, and I'll jump ahead a little bit, is to approve this agreement. And the agreement calls for things like having a racial climate survey in the entire district, where we will ask students, and they can be anonymous or they can give their name, however they choose to do it, answer survey questions. So we can get data from all of our students with regard to how they feel about race. That's been done partially with regard to, I understand, the gang issue, and surprisingly, not surprisingly to us, but maybe to the public would be, the perception in the school is there's not a gang problem. So that, the public's not aware of that, but the brief survey information we have indicated that that's the case. So we're going to do this racial climate survey. We're going to revise our racial harassment policy. We're going to provide training to administrators. We're going to provide training to our students with regard to racial harassment issues. And Mr. Cornish, I, for one, will be part of that process, I hope. And I hope to reach out to you and have you be part of that process. I know the Office of Civil Rights, that are from Philadelphia, is going to send someone up here to talk. That doesn't preclude other people from talking and the people in the community from talking. So, again, I had your phone number that I passed along. But before you leave today, if you would give me your contact information, I will talk to you about that process.
Can I just ask one question, Adina, real quick, please? Have the teachers gone to cultural awareness and diversity?
Yes, I mean, it's an ongoing thing. I mean, we have new teachers coming in all the time, all right? When I was there, they were trained probably in the late 90s.
Is it
Okay.
only GAR or have
No,
all
no,
of
it's throughout the
Wilkes-Barre
whole
area
district.
school
It's throughout the
district
whole
teachers?
district. Yes, the whole district is trained in cultural diversity.
Okay.
Some of our in-services deal with it.
Mr.
And
Lipinski.
sometimes we have people come in, and for example, let the trumpeters come in and work with our teachers when it's recorded. But yes, it's an ongoing process. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you every teacher in our school district has been trained because, I don't know how many times it's happened in the last few years with some of our newer teachers. But I can tell you, in the years that I was at GAR, and I was there 30 years, okay, we went through training probably 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
And as part of this agreement, we're talking about with the Office of Civil Rights, it includes annual in-service training for administrators and staff with regard to racial harassment issues and investigating complaints and resolving those complaints. That will be an annual event going forward.
Mr. Lipinski has something to say.
Yes, I want to add to what Mr. Gillella said. I haven't been around, I left JR about 12 and a half years ago, and I remember Lenny was our wrestling coach, but in my 27 years as principal there, one of the first diversity programs we started, where the people came in from Charmin, up in Procter & Gamble, and they started those programs, and what they did is they had small groups. And instead of having large groups, we had maybe groups of 10 to 15, where there was a lot of interchange of ideas, and the first ones who had to attend the diversity and were the administrators and the guidance people. So this has been an ongoing thing that is happening at GAR. And I have to make another statement too, because I get upset when I read the paper. Is when one of the newspapers says that there's a story about the black kids gathering at Sherman and Grant Street. Well, GAR was built in 1925, and Lenny, you know, and anybody who has anything to do with GAR, the kids, when they're walking home, stop at the corner of Grant and Lehigh Street, and they're walking down in groups because they're going to where they live. And we all know what the dichotomy of the area is. So, sometimes things are said to cause problems, and these problems don't exist. Do we have problems? Yes, and we've been working on this. Mr. Solomon was the superintendent when we first started these things, so that's quite a few years ago. And it's hard work, and I was very impressed with the young ladies who were here the other night and said the programs that they are starting. And I think Attorney Lindowski put it well, you gotta start here, and then you expand there. So the district is working very hard to solve these problems. And we have to remember, these problems are not only at GAR. And it's too bad the GAR, they had the incident, and that's the
Two incidents.
center, 2 incidents.
Everyone always remembers this latest,
Yeah,
but we've
okay.
had 2 children now
I know,
attacked with
but
machetes.
what I'm saying is that becomes the center, and we are trying to solve these
But
problems.
we need to quit,
Thank you.
we need to quit intellectualizing and get, you know, down to the grassroots efforts before one of our children wind up dead. And believe me, if this incident happened down in South Wilkes-Barre, there'd been a lot more, I think, immediate action. I mean, to just sit around and talk, there needs to be action in that school right now.
Lenny, after saying a lot of nice things about it, I totally disagree with them.
I disagree with you.
That, the reaction to JR was swift and as comprehensive as we can. Look, we have a young person here.
To the incident, I'm talking about the racial tensions is what I'm talking about.
But all our schools are extreme, maybe with the exception of one, are extremely diverse, okay? And so we deal with each school equally. No school is more important than the other. And most importantly, no child is more important than the other. So if there's an issue at GAR, we try to address it. If there's an issue at Myers, we address it. So I have to respectfully disagree with you.
Okay, Mr. Dwyer, last one, I think we